Hi everyone, it's June 10th, 2015, and this is episode 4, I think, of SDX Cric's Mega Man Legends. I'm Colin Horgan, and I'm going to be playing through a bit more of the PS1 title, Mega Man Legends, making my little audio log notes, and if you're following along at home, I hope you enjoy. So last time, just as a refresher, since it's been a while, we left off, we did the whole intro boss rush section, as I like to call it. Not that it's a real boss rush, but it just seems like the story wants to throw like 4 different boss fights at you at the same time. Kind of a weird pacing choice, but whatever. Like, if we want to keep the excitement up, that's cool. And then we just saw the big cutscene at the end. We saved the town from the attacking pirates, even though the entire town's destroyed. So we're kind of left open to the rest of the game, where we're gonna be reconstructing the island as we explore all the dungeons and things, and kind of find out what's going on as we try to get off the island. So where we ended, there was a specific cutscene. The police were chasing after some leftover pirates who went up north. So I'm gonna just follow them along because it sounds like there's more excitement up there. And we're gonna be dropped into the next story combat section, which is kind of along the same lines of the stuff that we were doing before. When the pirates were involved, and we're going to do some more story-based, bit different kind of combat sections and the slower pace exploratory dungeon stuff. So we head to the north of town, and we're in the beautiful green and blue outdoor space north of town. There's some little huts and stuff that we can see, but there's 1,000 pirate tanks that are all around, and they look pretty intimidating. They're this dark green color, and they've got the pirate skulls. But then again, like a lot of things in Mega Man Legends, there's the duality to it, where they're just piloted by the little yellow serve bots who look like little Lego men, and they don't actually seem to be that hard. I mean, maybe again, I might be a bit biased because I played through this game pretty intensely rather recently, so it's not like I'm a new player or anything. I can take down these guys pretty handily just by circle strafing. I think one of the maybe weaknesses of this game's combat design, not that the combat is particularly advanced or interesting or whatever, I think it's capable and it's fun, is that every enemy you can kind of just defeat by circling around them and shooting, because like I said earlier in the game, it doesn't have, this game is kind of like a third-person shooter, but because it's so early and there's no dual analog sticks, you're just always shooting the direction the camera's facing, which means though that you can strafe left to right and still shoot kind of forward if you rotate the camera while you're moving, it's circle strafing. It's done a bit differently than it would be in other shooter games, or what we'd be more used to now with mouse look or first-person shooters on the PC. But once you get the hang of it, it takes a tiny bit of time, but once you do, most of these enemies are pretty easily taken over. So I'm just kind of exploring this space right now. There's a bunch of cannons at the top of these raised, not platforms, but it's there's kind of 2 levels of I guess you'd say hills in this outdoor area. So we got the tanks on the ground who kind of slowly roll after you and shoot bombs at you. They take a decent amount of hits to defeat, but like I said, it's just run around them. Their attacks are too slow. You can't really get hit by them, but they have this support from the air with these cannons on top of this hilled area. The whole height is an advantage thing. They just kind of try to snipe you with their bombs, but again, their rate of fire is so low. As long as you keep moving, you're not really going to get hit. So I come upon, as I get halfway through, I see that there's a police car parked right next to a little cabin in the woods looking thing, and it's smoking some nice, just black blocky smoke pixel texture flying up. So I go in the house and there's just people on each wall. I guess they're supposed to be like scared or trapped or something, but it's funny because they don't have any other like kind of animation for it. They're just doing their typical idle animation. We got a model that looks like a girl who owns paprika. Is she though? I thought I'd be safe here, but there's nowhere to run. They're everywhere. Maybe this is the legendary disaster that's supposed to happen to the island. Oh wow, another, yeah, like I said, or I talked about a lot in episode 2, there's a lot of foreshadowing, or just always hinting at something ahead. Or maybe that was the last episode, I don't even remember. It'll be only be a matter of time for the pirates find the treasure. I'm talking to the inspector guy again, they got the Brooklyn accent. There's no voice acting in this scene right now. But I'm just looking. We never expected them to be this strong. They're more than just run-of-the-mill thieves. And, you know, I'd probably think the same way when I was first playing this. I was talking about before how circle strafing is kind of the way to take out all the different enemies. But when I first played this game, you know, when I was very young the first few times, I always thought this game was so hard, and there were some parts that I just couldn't get past. That playing it now are just so easy now that I know how to circle strafe. Like, seriously, it's so effective. I mean, just knowing how to use the controls effectively, I guess, and to your advantage helps. So I walked back out of the hut and all the enemies reset, but that's okay. I'll just farm some money from these guys. So I'm going to try and see if I can take out these cannons that are on a raised level, because this raises an interesting point. Not that I have to defeat them, I just need to get to the other side of the map and kind of exit, move along, so I can take out kind of the source of the enemies. But yeah, so this raises an interesting challenge where I don't have the high jump yet, so I can't easily get up to that second level of hill, and there's kind of like walls that block everything. So you need to go to around the hill, which means you have to have kind of survived the initial onslaught of the cannon fire. But there's a tiny like little hill behind it that you can walk up, which you know, allows you to jump on to just barely reach where these guys are shooting at you from. So I'm gonna time a jump so that I don't get hit by a cannonball while I'm jumping up. And yeah, so I've gotten onto the big hill. I can jump from hill to hill and take out these little cannon guys one by one. Because I'm a bit of a completionist and because I want the money, I'm gonna do that, I think, or take them all out. And these guys are pretty easy. Like I said, if you just keep moving, you're not going to get hit. The real challenge of this part is more in the level design. How do I get to a spot where I can hit these guys? At this top of the hill that I just cleared out, there's another little hut with a trash can and a soda machine. I don't need to heal, so I won't kick the soda machine, but I'm going to kick the trash can. Oops, I forgot I can't kick because I have a special weapon equipped. So I'm just going to examine the garbage pail. Is there anything inside? Oh, it's empty. I would have known that if I could have kicked it, but that's okay. But there's also a box right next to it. I'm going to examine that and see if there's anything inside. Yep, and I found the safety helmet. So safety helmet, which seems kind of silly, I would imagine is a bicycle helmet or something, is actually a really important item to find. Like I said before, you could theoretically go through this game without finding anything. You know, a lot of the special items and weapons and stuff are just things that you specifically need to go out of your way to get. And you can finish the game without doing it. It's just, it'd be a lot harder. So the safety helmet is kind of hidden in this combat section, but if you find it, and you can find it afterwards, but picking it up now will just you know, save us some time later. Finding the safety helmet allows us to create the Mega Man helmet, or I forget what it's actually called, but you know, we get like the blue kind of classic Mega Man looking helmet thing that goes over your head. And that prevents us from being knocked down as easily, and I think it has a slight damage reduction. So it's one of the more important defensive items that you can get and equip. Makes the game a decent amount easier, especially if you're not too good at it and you get hit a lot. It'll prevent you from kind of getting stunned from enemy fire as easily, which is cool. It's a cool little thing to find. And like I said before, one of the things I like about this game is finding the little secrets actually has like significant gameplay effect. It's not just like I'm finding a gun with an extra damage point, or you know, this gun's the same as that gun, except it does fire damage or whatever. These things are actually kind of feel like they matter more because they're a bit more unique than that. And I recognize that means, you know, that's not as easy to develop, or it would take more time. Which is why I think this game is like kind of short, and it doesn't actually have like too much stuff that you could get compared to like a full like 40-hour RPG kind of thing where you see all that. But I think that's why it all feels like it has more impact, or it's more important than that typical, you know, loot game kind of thing where everything's, you know, maybe procedurally generated or whatever. You know, when it's more tightly designed, everything feels like it has more value because it can. It can be designed to have that value and to be of importance. So right before you get to the end of this map, where I see the little hole in the wall that I need to go through, you're presented with two of these tank guys, which is interesting because you know, before you're fighting them in these like big open areas and just by themselves, and now we're in more of a closed corridor, you know, trying to get to this big hole in the mountain that we're going to. So we're in a slightly more cramped space, and we essentially just walk up to these two tanks, which create a wall in front of the door. You could totally just run by them and go to the door, go through. But the way they're positioned makes them difficult, and when you have two on them, kind of the rate of fire, their slow rate of fire becomes less of a problem for themselves because they can kind of cover each other, which is a cool little escalation of difficulty, and you know, again, forcing you to face things that you faced before but in a new light. They're also a version of the tank that takes slightly more damage. It has like a machine gun fire attack, which is a bit harder to dodge because, you know, like the bombs travel more slowly, but bullets travel faster. Kind of like I think the first time we saw bullets was the bosses or the Tron Bond boss fight earlier, and that's the first time you face that new kind of projectile. Where the game's saying, you know, this will be a bit more difficult. We're gonna start throwing these new elements in to keep challenging you. I wonder if I can do anything. Whenever you defeat a tank, you know, it blows up and the little surf bot runs out, as I said, and they just start running around the map, which is kind of funny. Just randomly running and tripping and falling sometimes. Oh, it's so sad. These guys are so cute. Why am I fighting them? I guess because they're trying to hurt me. But so the second area of this combat section is interesting because it's kind of shaped like a V. But a lopsided V, like one half of it is very short and the other half is very long, and you kind of start at the apex at the bottom, and you can go off to the right, which is the way you're supposed to go. I know that because I see Data is right next to the next hole in the wall I need to go to, a door, wherever you want to say. But if I go to the left, there's more tanks there. There's more resistance. If I wanted to go to the right, I would just need to defeat one tank. But if I go to the left, there's like 3 that I have to fight off. The cool thing is I see that there's a little hut thingy, like the entrance of the first dungeon after the tutorial, which probably hints that, oh, there's another sub-dungeon that I can go to a bit later. I'm going to prioritize the story stuff right now. But I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. You know, nice little discovery of extra stuff, and you know, when the game kind of opens up after this section, you know, I have more things in mind that I can do without being told, like, oh, maybe you should go check out that sub-dungeon that was kind of near this place. Another cute little thing that I didn't notice until like maybe the 3rd time I played or whatever, but it's very apparent to me now, is on this other path. So like I said, these outdoor areas are all very green, very bright basic colors, you know, the green ground and the blue sky. But here when I'm heading down this path to the left, on the right side, next to the darker grass that I can't walk on, I see a bright pink flower, which is contrasting against everything else in the scene, which makes it look different, unique. I go over to it and I'm going to press the circle button and examine it, and hey, look, it's actually an item that I can pick up, and it says I found the flower. Cool. That'll come into play later. But for now, I'm gonna head back over to where Data is, because I defeated all the enemies. I don't really have an interest in going to the subgate. Subgate being the name of the kind of the non-story essential dungeons. I don't have a reason to go to the subgate right now, so I'm gonna go talk to Data. Mega Man, looks like the pirates are digging a big hole or something on the other side of this passage. Be careful. Okay, so probably meaning that there's a boss fight coming up. Not explicitly from what Data said, but I played this game before. I know what's happening. So I'm gonna save. Also, because whenever the game throws a save point at you, you probably want to take it. And I'm gonna head through the hole and see what happens. So the music has faded out, the battle music, which is very ominous, and we've changed to a new music. Also, the color of the sky has changed. We still got the same like green and darker green look on the ground, but the sky is like a purple pinkish color. I guess it would be like if you added some red to the typical blue color that it is. Even the clouds are kind of like pink. It's kind of cute, but at the same time, taken as a whole, it looks a lot more ominous because it makes everything just darker. Sorry, I just got hit. I'm kind of, ooh, shoot. I just got hit ran to a bomb because I was trying to talk and face off against one of these harder tanks. This section also introduces two tanks at the same time, but they're kind of in a line, and you're in a narrow corridor, so there's not as much time or space to dodge all this stuff. But I think it's a bit easier than facing the two at once because you can kind of space them out due to one being behind the other. They can't both attack you at the same time. So here comes the final member of the pirate family that we haven't fought yet, whose name I'm forgetting again. So I was right last time. The baby is Bon Bon. The middle girl is Tron Bon, the one who seems like she's Mega Man's age. And then the older brother, I guess, who looks way older because he has really spiky gray hair, but a very menacing green robot suit. Kind of like Mega Man, so I guess, hey, maybe the robot suit thing's a bit more, his T-Bon, I guess, I sure, no. I was going to say his name Trombone, but no, that's the other one. I guess we'll just call him T-Bon. So I'm getting a mission start screen. That's where I see T-Bon. It's called Showdown with T-Bon. And it basically is just saying that I'm about to fight a boss. It has a outer shell that armors it, but the hatch is defenseless. And then also, like, I can shoot the treads to slow the robot down, and then jump on the robots to defeat the hatch, which is kind of unfortunate. It's basically telling me all the secrets of the boss. And, I can kind of maybe understand why they did it, because I don't know how else the game would communicate that this is what you're supposed to do. Although I almost wish I was able to just figure it out on my own. Because there are some visual indications of, like, when you're actually scoring a hit, like things react in a certain way versus when your shots just bounce off of something and they kind of dissipate with a different sound than if you hit something. And like I mentioned in the first episode, the hit sound effects are so in your face and kind of over the top. It's like getting punched in an arcade game or something. So I'm just gonna keep running around hitting the treads. This is an interesting arena for this boss fight. It's kind of like a donut. It's circular, and there's a space in the middle that you can't hit. I just realized I keep getting hit by some bullets, and I was thinking it was the boss trying to do something, but it's actually there's some tanks around the side. I think I'm gonna dedicate some time and resources to defeating those guys. So I'm gonna start dividing my attention now, which is a curious thing, I think, for a boss fight and kind of these mission things that we've been introduced to, where typically, I guess, the convention for boss fights in video games is that it's just one big guy that you're fighting off against, and you gotta focus your attention on them, and act especially because they probably deal a lot of damage or have more dangerous aspects. But here we're kind of given a lot of stuff we need to do, and also these tertiary enemies that kind of act as third objectives we don't need to care about, but it's probably going to be beneficial to us in the long run to go after them. So I just heard the robot doing this very cartoony charge up sound, which is one of my most feared sounds of this game, because it indicates that the Bond pirate ship thing is going to do a giant, what I like to call the unblockable green ball. They have a specific kind of projectile attack, most of the Bond robots actually, where it just looks like this kind of unassuming giant green laser ball thing, but all the big Bond robots from this point on have this attack, and one hit from it breaks your shield, which is super unfortunate. I don't think I've mentioned actually how the health system in this game works, and I think it's because it seems fairly typical at first, but what seems like is just a like cool visual and feedback thing actually is a gameplay element. So the health bar in the game is kind of like vertically oriented on the bottom left side of the screen, and whenever you get hit, it flashes red and kind of like opens up, like it looks like a little capsule that has 2 locks in it, and whenever you get hit, the locks break open, and the capsule looks like it opens up. That's actually a gameplay mechanic where you have like 2 states. You have an armored state and a vulnerable state. And that's indicated by the health bar. So when the health bar is open, you are vulnerable, and all damage you take is increased. When the bar is closed, that means you're shielded, and you don't take as much damage as you would when you're vulnerable. The other thing about that, though, is if you take a certain threshold of damage within a certain amount of time, your shield will break. So it will open up and then it won't close. Most times after you get hit by an attack, depending on the strength of the attack, it will open for a certain amount, but then you'll recover and it will the health bar or shield will close. But if you get hit by certain attacks, it just breaks open, and you need a certain item called like the shield recovery or whatever to recover your shield. Actually, speaking of which, so I got hit by the green ball thing, and the unfortunate thing about that attack is it always breaks your shield if you get hit by it. And yeah, so I don't have any of the items that recover the shield because I thought I was better than that. Oh well, I just won't get hit from now on. It's the plan, I guess. I also didn't think to refill on my recovery item, which is probably a bad call on my part because I'm pretty low on health, but I'll just play it safe. I destroyed the treads, though, so now I just need to jump onto the back of the guy, which I utterly just failed at because I forgot what button jumps. This is really bad. Good things you guys aren't seeing this because it'd be pretty embarrassing. But yeah, so I just need to go back to the edge of the map. So on the outside ring of the donut, there's some ledges that you can climb up on, which allow you to reach a better vertical position from which I can jump onto the top of this giant mining robot. Yellow robot too, so it kind of almost seems like it's maybe an homage to the whatever they were called, the Matools from the original Mega Men, because they kind of look like that. But shoot, I just fell off the ledge. I gotta stop guessing and talking about Mega Man history, I guess, because it's causing me to screw up in this fight. Okay, so I'm jumping back onto the ledges, though. I know the order I need to go to get up there. Interesting focus on verticality in this game again, or in this specific section. I mean, it doesn't happen a lot in the game, at least as far as I can remember, but I guess like one interesting thing about switching to 3D is it allows you to put an added focus on the extra dimension that you didn't have before, which is having an X, Y, and a Z. All right, so I got into the hatch, and so now he can't really hit me with any of his attacks. So I'm just gonna keep shooting at the hatch until it opens up, and I'm just gonna just hold my button down, my attack button. I'm gonna keep shooting it. Oh, and he tries to swipe me off, but I actually got hit. I'll just remember for next time to jump and avoid. So yeah, if I keep just hitting the hatch, the health goes down pretty quickly. It seems like the difficulty in this fight is more just destroying the treads, not getting hit by that freaking green ball attack, and just getting on top of the hatch because now he's down to like 2/3 health. Got a hit off, so I'm just gonna run back, get back onto the ledge, get back onto the hatch, shoot at him a bit more, and I'll be all set. Oh, and I got hit by that. Oh, shoot! I actually died. That's really unfortunate. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll pretend I didn't die. I'm going to play through that boss fight again, and I'll resume once I get to where I was before I got hit by that freaking super hard to avoid shield breaking attack. Okay. Talk to you in a sec. Alright, so I'm back. Just went through the first part of the boss fight again, where I defeated broke the treads. It's making me think about a few things. So one, maybe I was being a bit too hard on the design of that, the green glowy laser attack. Because I was realizing as I was playing, so like I just got through that whole section, and without talking, I was able to get through it rather easily without getting hurt, maybe like once by a straight bullet. But a few things I noticed about it, specifically that one attack that was kind of frustrating me before, is that, first of all, the boss actually starts off by doing that attack like right in your face as soon as the game starts. So it immediately tells you like, oh look, this is a thing that you have to be prepared for, and you have to get ready to dodge, and this is like, you're gonna figure out how to dodge it right the heck now, like before we kind of get into the real danger of the boss fight. And then another thing that kind of makes it a bit more fair is no matter where you are on the map, you always hear its charge up sound, and you can tell relatively based on the volume of the charge up how far away and how long you have before you have to dodge, when the thing actually comes to you. So it's actually telegraphed pretty well in advance of before you're ever in danger. And so maybe it's not as bad as I was saying, just the divided attention thing probably was throwing me off. I do want to talk about, though, that I do think it's unfortunate that the designers felt that they had to explain how to defeat the boss in the like mission objective thing. And I think that's actually like one of the times that this game feels weirdest, because a lot of the game just relies on you figuring things out for yourself, and like, trusting the player to kind of explore the worlds and systems, and this seems totally contrary to all that. And I think that's why this section does feel so different from the rest of the game, like what I said, like this kind of like narrative boss rush section. Like I feel like it's so clearly defined, and I can always explain, or like I can label it because it feels so different. Oh, and the third thing I want to say about that attack that I was realizing while I was going through this is the green ball attack thing. You're most likely to get hurt by it when you're in an area based on the level design. You're most likely to get hurt by the green ball attack when you are either kind of close to the robot on the ground or far away on the top of a ledge. And the thing about that is those are the two areas where you're of most danger to the boss. So it kind of forces you to be aware, like when you're in these positions to actually deal damage, the game gets harder, because it should. Like, this guy's playing on the defense. You're this little offensive, like, running around. A firepower guy, and he's just like this big hulking machine. If it's gonna tank, it's gotta tank when it's in danger of not being able to tank your shots. That was a very roundabout way of saying I think it's kind of an interesting balancing act that the attack has, because when you're in these positions where you're not really going to do anything to it, it can't really do anything to you just based on the geometry of the level. With all these ledges and stuff, it's kind of hard for this to actually hit you when you're like climbing them, but when you're at the top of them, it's a bit easier to hit. Alright, so I'm just avoiding all these things until I get a good chance to jump on the hatch, and I'm on the hatch. So I'm gonna stand back, keep shooting at the door so I don't get hurt by any of the bombs that fly off of it. I just accidentally rolled off because I'm really great at this. Yeah, so anyways, that's what I wanted to say about the boss fight that I realized while I was fighting again. Because I'm not doing too hot again, I think I'm probably going to pause the commentary until I defeat the boss, because I think I said everything I really want to say about it. Yeah, so hold on. Alright, so I just defeated the boss. He's going through a little temper tantrum right now. There's, they're just yelling, and the Serp bots are being like, oh, sorry, we can't close the hatch. We forgot to close the hatch. Mega Man just threw a bunch of bombs down it, and now the little punk defeated us. Flash to white, big explosion. Little Bert anime people again. You know, like Pokemon, Brock being burned by Charizard burn, not more intense. You know, actually hurt kind of burn. The Surfbots bring Tiesel Bone, that's his name, back into their ship, and they fly away. You know, Team Rocket's blasting off again. A bit less dramatic than that, though. Yeah, and so we're at the end of the Tron boss fights for now, at least. So the game will kind of open up a bit. So while this cutscene's going, I think I can talk about some other thoughts I had about that specific boss fight that I forgot to mention. So going off of the what I thought was unfortunate about trying to explain how to defeat the boss with the mission objective, I think it almost maybe could have been disallowed, or like not. They could have felt that they didn't have to do that. For reasons I mentioned before, but also because I noticed as I was fighting the boss this time, as you keep shooting the tank, you know, and it does have the hit effect of, oh, I am taking damage hit effect, the flash of white and the specific, like, your bullets are connecting sound. Tiesel Bone starts yelling at you at specific points, like indicating how damaged the treads are. But, you know, in a comedic, like, oh, you'll never, you know, scratch my tank. You won't even, you can't even scratch the paint job with that pea shooter of yours. You know, just, whatever the word is. You know, frig, why am I brain farting on this? You know, he's kind of taunting you. That's what I was saying, and encouraging you to keep shooting. And then, you know, like, as it deals more and more damage, he keeps saying, like, hey, cut it out. You know, stop that. Until finally the treads just break and start smoking. You know, which we've seen before is a sign of damage, like on the police car that we just saw, actually. Yeah, so anyways, I just climbed out of that pit, and getting a call from Roll saying that the mayor has something important that we need to talk about. So the game gives me an option to just auto teleport back, which is great. More games should do stuff like that. Yeah, and we're back in the mayor's office. So I'm pretty sure this is the point where the mayor's going to start explaining the town rebuilding side quest, which seems to be a thing among, like, Capcom RPGs. Like, I know, like, all the Breath of Fire games have that as well, but this is kind of more ingrained in the actual story. In the meanwhile, after I said yes to be teleported back to the mayor, we've got a little cutscene with the Bond family, the pirates, talk about, oh, how to Mega Man defeat us. And, you know, just typical, like, story anime villain stuff, like, oh, I've got an idea, like, we'll build bigger and better robots, and we'll take him, you know, we'll get him, and we'll let him lead us to the treasure, and we'll, yeah, defeat him, all that stuff. The funnier part, though, is that there's just a bunch of Surfbots around the table just doing random things, like one's waving his arms, the other they look like they're playing patty cake or something. They're just having a good time. They don't care, they just got defeated. They come back to the mayor's office, and Gramps is super excited. His voice actor just going, Mega Man, you just defeated those pirates. You showed them who's boss. Yeah, so anyways, the mayor is going to keep thanking us, and then I'm pretty sure this is part where she's going to start talking about how we need to rebuild the town, and we would like you to help us if you can. But yeah, and then but now getting to, like, actual, like, story stuff, the mayor is mentioning that there seems to be increased activity in the gates and the sub-gates, the underground ruins, and the Reaverbots are waking up. You know, and she brings up this whole thing about the horrible disaster, the cataclysmic prophecy that we've probably heard about by now, just based on talking with NPCs and stuff. I think this is the first time it's mentioned in the actual cutscene. Anyways, she just asked me something, and I wasn't paying attention, so I'm just gonna say yes. Oh yeah, she's asking if we'll help rebuild the town with the, like, money and stuff we find in the dungeons. And in exchange, she gives us a Class A license. I'm kind of curious of what she would have said if I said no. It would probably do one of those, like, game things, like, oh, you have to say yes, so I'm going to keep asking you until you say yes. And now she gave us the license to get into, I think, every dungeon on the game. Yeah. So the mayor's saying you can get into the sealed off sites, the one the pirates are trying to break into, and I can dig in the subgates, and then in exchange we need to give her information and help out rebuild the town as we
go along. So something I just noticed that maybe I've always been playing this game wrong. But like in literally the cutscene before I started this section of the game, so maybe like 20 minutes of gameplay ago, I was given the Class B license, which allows us to get into certain dungeons in this island, but not all of them. And now, here I am 35 minutes later, and I've got access to every dungeon, which is kind of funny. But what I'm thinking is that just means that the game designers probably expected me to not just jump and take on the pirates, and that's probably why it seemed like slightly more difficult. I think that was one of the difficulty spikes that I kind of talked about before, but it wasn't that bad, honestly. So maybe not. But yeah, it was probably expected to explore a bit more. Oops, sorry, I just wanted to get to the point now, and I'll do all the side quest stuff. Probably at this point. So anyways, I'm just talking with Gramps, and he's just telling us where all these subgates are that we can take on. So there's one at the lake in Uptown, there's one Cardinal Forest where we crashed at the beginning of the game, one west of the city, and one in the north of the Closer Woods where the pirates just were. The Closer Woods one being inaccessible for now, because of that boss fight we just had. That big tank we just fought kind of ruined destroyed access to that building by digging a giant hole around it, because they're trying to dig into the ground to access it, I guess. Anyways, so Gramps asks, which one should we check out first? I wonder. Which is kind of cool, because I think actually I kind of have some freedom to decide that, or the game never actually says oh, you need to do this one. I mean, besides us not being able to get to the Closer Woods one until we get through the lake one, because the lake one, after we take on the lake subgate, we get the item that allows us to use our airship again, so we can use the airship to get to the final subgate, which is the Closer Woods one, the one that we were just fighting the tank guy at. So because some of the side quests in the town are time sensitive and require different buildings to not be destroyed, I'm gonna prioritize spending my money on rebuilding the town right now. So I'm going to talk to the mayor. She asks, and whenever you talk to her, she asks if we want to make a donation to the reconstruction fund, and then we can pick what we want to reconstruct, and it says how much we need to. Oh, I actually got off pretty easily, so the only things I need to reconstruct right now is the bank for 2,000 zenny, residential house for 6,000, condominiums for 7,200. Usually it's actually reversed. The residential houses get beat up more than the condominiums, but that's okay. So the bank has a side quest associated with it, so I'm gonna complete that one first. So they need an additional 2,000 to complete it, so I'm gonna just donate that right now. And yeah. I think I'll also donate to reconstruct the condos. The only reason I'm not going to reconstruct the residential houses yet is because I want to spend some money on upgrading my gear and weapons and stuff. But then also because there is a side quest that the police chief can give you that if you don't do that well on, will cause more damage to the houses, so I don't want to start reconstructing houses if there's potential to need to pump more money into them. So anyways, that's about 2/3 of the way there. I'm gonna get out of here, and I think what I'll do is, because I just got through another big story section, is I'll save probably off camera or off audio, go upgrade different weapons and things, and then I think call it here. Next time we can start dungeoneering again, which will be fun. So anyways, healing and saving up, and I will head out for now. So yeah, another shorter episode, short being 40 minutes, after a whole 2 episodes, both being over an hour long. I guess this will be a nice little refresher to get back into it. Anyways, thanks again for listening. Listening to me talk about boss and combat design in this game again. Something I kind of want to get into more often. I guess I will once we get into the dungeon level design, which is pretty cool stuff, I think. Yeah, so thanks again for listening. Again, I've been Colin Horgan doing SDX Crits Mega Man Legends. This was episode 4. Hope to share this with you soon. Bye.